in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand.
Hello and welcome to the start of Season 2 of the Grotti Formula One Championship, held here in beautiful and sunny Los Santos. I'm Desai and I'll be your host for this event. In this program, we'll look at the first race of the season, as well as get insights from defending champion Ovivo and crossover touring cars champion Odan. Formula One. The name conjures up images of elite cars and the best of the best drivers. And with good reason. These drivers are the pinnacle of motor racing athletes with no rivals in terms of their reaction times and their fitness. And they're matched by equally elite car marques. Grotti, Benefactor, Progen. I think we're going to be in for one hell of a season. I'm here now with reigning F1 champion and Scuderia Grotti driver ovivoJR and Richard's Majestic F1 driver and reigning touring car champion Odan. Ovivo, I was wondering, how do you prepare for an F1 season? I mean, is it easier or is it more difficult than a touring cars? What's your preparation regime like?
Yeah, and so F1 and SATCC, they're very different because SATCC has like short 30-minute races, two races a weekend, and you have to prepare very fast to get both races into good shape. And for the F1 it is different because we only have one race with 1 hour per weekend, and you have to focus more on your lap time and your overall consistency. So that is definitely something different between SATCC and Formula One.
Okay. And bearing that in mind, I guess, you were the F1 champion in Season 1 in 2015, and the Season 1 touring car champion. You were runner-up in Season 2, and you were beaten by that man over there, Odan. Well, how confident are you this time about being able to... can't undo what happened already. How confident, though, are you that you'll retain the F1 crown this season, given the crop of drivers you've got in there?
I'll have to say it is going to be a very difficult task because the competition has improved so much. We have the SATCC already going into its third season, and we have the Formula One going into second season after almost 6 months that we had for the first season, the last race. So all the drivers have improved, so we have a lot of good drivers in the competition, like Doom Penguin, Super Stepper, Arkin, Iceman is going to return as a reserve driver, Oh Darn, Madaros is going to be back, so that's going to be really tough. But as I say, never give up, so I'm quite confident that I'll gonna finish probably top 3.
I agree. The field has definitely improved a lot, and I think we have a bigger group of top drivers this season. Like the only real top drivers last season were you, Ovivo, Arkin, and in certain degrees Iceman, and the rest was pretty much driving to be best of the rest.
Yeah, we see on Anders's reaction here. He's cheering for you, Darn. You're definitely right with that.
Yeah, there's no bias, I promise. But I was actually going to ask about that, Darn, because I guess for you, there'd be you'd be interested in getting your second title of winning both touring cars and F1 as Ovivo has. What do you think your chances of getting a F1 title crown is this season? Do you think it's likely, or do you see yourself as an outside chance?
I would see myself as an outsider, not as a favorite. I know that there are much faster guys than me, and even though I improved a lot over the last couple of months, I think I still miss some pace and consistency to give it a shot at the title.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess on that, you guys raced in 3 competitive seasons together. You've raced in touring cars, you've raced in Formula 1, and you've raced in Formula E. Of the 3 of them, which do you think is the most taxing in terms of the driver's skill, the driver's preparation, and the competition in the field?
Tough question.
Yeah, that's really a tough question. I have to agree with that. I would say every competition has its own difficulties, and for me, I think F1 is the one that you probably would focus the most on, because it is one of the most challenging of the three. Because Formula E, it was 5 races, which were kind of mid-season, where everybody was trying to get onto vacation, drive to Toledo, have some nice days on the beach. But now we are all back in challenge mode, and we all want to win this competition. So I think F1 is the one where everybody will be focusing on the most.
Well, for me it's a little bit different, because I'm of course the reigning champion of the touring cars, so I will put a lot of effort to get a second title.
Yeah, definitely no pressure on you, Darn.
None at all.
None at all.
Well, I think that's an excellent point for us to take a quick break, and we have a look at a lap around the first race, the Yellowjack circuit, and then see if we can have some good discussion there. And when we come back, we'll have a look at what's ahead for the rest of the season. Okay, so we're coming up here to the start-finish line on the Yellowjack circuit. Darn is in the lead from Ovivo. So far, you get the impression this is a very narrow track. There's not a lot of overtaking opportunities here. Nice fast line through turn 1 there for both cars. Now to turn 2, which is modestly fast left-handed, a little bit of track extension there to help you through it. We're coming up here to a blind left-hander, which is turn 3. Shave a bit of speed, and in we go. Alright, we're coming down now to what I think will be our first talking point. So let's take a look at the hairpin here, which is quite an interesting little entry. So talk me through this, Ovivo. I see you're coming up here to a hairpin turn. Good overtaking opportunity on the car in front. You've not had any other overtaking opportunities earlier. What do? You're attacker. How do you attack this?
Yeah, on this hairpin, it is quite tricky because it's a double hairpin. So all you can really do is get a good exit out of the turn before, try to stay as close to your opponent as possible, and then try to get the inside on the first hairpin and hope that the other guy on the outside loses some speed, so you get in front of him for the next turn, because if you're not, he will be on your inside and you will not gain the position. So it's a tricky turn, but one of the few overtaking opportunities on this track.
And for you, Dan, you're in the lead here, as we can see on the screen. You've got the track position, but you've also got a world champion snapping at your gearbox. What do you do to defend this? How do you keep the position?
Well, in this case, as we're in now, I would just keep the inside, so to prevent he can't take that, and try to carry enough speed so he can't overtake me on the outside. But if he would have been on my inside already, I would have tried to carry as much speed as possible through first hairpin and try to set up a counter attack for the second hairpin.
Okay, well, should we see how it panned out?
Yep.
Let's do it. Okay, so coming in now, and Ovivo's made up a lot of distance, but in turn 5 and 6, Dan is still very much ahead and very much holding that position. Now we're coming up again to one of our next talking points down this little road here that we know from the Bahrain track. Nice little bridge section constructed by Prutug. But we're now out to our next talking point, which is this hairpin. Now this is a very interesting hairpin to me. It's not a tight one, it's quite a wide one, and it doesn't really take the line you expect. But I think that gives the drivers opportunities to take 2 different lines and go from 2 perspectives. So Dan, you've got about 2 or 3 car lengths here between you and Ovivo, so you've got a little bit of breathing space, but obviously not much. If you make a mistake, he's right there. How do you take this corner? What's your approach?
Well, since he was so close behind me, I decided to take the inside corner to block it off and don't give him the opportunity to get on my inside and push me wide to get the overtake done in the second part of this turn. But if there would be no one behind me, I would have taken the outside line because it's overall faster. On the inside line you will lose a lot of speed in the second part of this turn, which is tighter left-hander.
Yeah, I have to
And for
agree.
you,
I have to agree.
yes, sorry, go on,
there.
Ovivo.
I definitely want to take the outside line as an attacker here, and he as a defender wants to take the inside line, because if he leaves that open, I'll just be there and take that spot from him.
I guess for both of you, if we were coming into this corner and there's you've got 3 cars instead of 2. That obviously changes the dynamic a bit. But I mean, do you want to be in that position defending against it? Do you want to be trying to play the other 2 cars against each other, or do you really want to sit back and just go for the best, fastest line possible and see where that takes you?
On the 3rd position, you definitely want to go for the fastest line, because then you will try to attack the attacker pretty much, and he was more focused on attacking than on defending, so he might leave a gap where you can dive into.
Yeah, definitely. If there are 3 cars attacking here or battling each other, if you're in front, you definitely want to be the defending guy on the inside. But if you're in the back, just try to get the fastest line possible and try to get an overtake.
Okay, well let's have a look at how that's panned out on track there for both of you. So Adana's taken the inside line, as he said. Ovivo has gone outside, had gone a little bit wide onto the dirt, but that's okay, he's not lost any speed. But it brings us to our next talking point, which is turn 10 and 11. Now these are a double hairpin section as well. Very important obviously to have position on here. Ovivo, you're very close to Dana on this turn. You're right up behind him, you're on his gearbox. You can probably smell the chance to sneak past him and take that position off him. From your perspective as a driver, what do you do for these turns? How do you set them up? How do you guarantee an overtake on the car in front?
These turns very, very tricky because they are so tight. If you don't have the overtake done by the first hairpin here or the first turn, then you shouldn't try to force it. You should just follow the car in front and try to get a better exit for the hairpin that's coming afterwards, and also the long straight, because it is just too tight to go through there with 2 cars next to each other. It's just gonna probably end up in a crash.
Yeah, so Dan, your thoughts on this one? We can see you're in the lead here. Vivo's obviously keen for the overtake, but you keep your head. How do you do that? How do you keep that position?
I try to stick to the inside on the first hairpin to get a better entry to turn 11, and by that I wanted to carry as much speed as possible through turn 11 to get a good exit for the long straight that's coming up, and that way to keep him behind me.
Excellent. Well, let's see how that worked out for you guys. Yeah.
All
right. So, bit of contact there, a little bit of a friendly nudge from Ovivo. So it looks like you've got a good exit here, Ovivo, but obviously Dan is carrying quite a lot of speed out there, and you can see he's just slightly pulling ahead. So obviously his strategy has worked. He's managed to hold the position and really be set up well for our next turn, which is here at turn 12. Now, turn 12 to me seems, guys, like the last ditch opportunity to do an overtake. You can carry a lot of speed into here. You've had a track that's not really allowed you to overtake so far, so you've had to be patient. Talk me through it. Dan, I can see here you're starting to cover the inside, so I just want to hear a bit about your thoughts about how you approach this corner.
Well, I obviously had to defend the entire lap, so that's a good point of view from my side. Try to explain that, how to do it. So for this turn, I tried to keep the inside throughout the entire turn, sacrificing some corner speed, but giving him no chance to get his car next to mine and get the overtake done.
And Ovivo, this is kind of your last ditch opportunity to get an overtake on this track. You might be able to pass him at turn 13, but really this seems to be the most important turn in the track almost. Talk me through your approach coming to this as the attacker. What are you trying to set up here? What do you want to see happen?
Yeah, I'm seeing that Darn is covering the inside, and so I'm thinking to myself, let's try to stay on the outside and cut back early to get the inside for actually the next turn, where there actually is no overtaking possibility if you're not in the right position. So you want to keep that in mind. If you're on the inside of the defending car onto the next turn, turn 13, then you have a great opportunity to overtake them, even if that's a really, really tight part of the track.
Yeah, simply outbraking will not happen in turn 13. It's just too tight.
Yeah, outbraking on that turn is definitely not happening.
Well, we hope that our rookie drivers are paying attention to this part of the video. Alright, I think I'd like to see how this last turn goes, so let's have a look. Yep, so you can see here, Dan has really just masterfully covered that off, which if I'm watching Ovivo, it's a bit more speed, but he's just got nowhere to go with it. So I can see what you guys are talking about there. Definitely very important turn 12. Well, that's it. That's a lap around the track. I really like that circuit, I have to say. I think it's going to be a very interesting opener, and I'm pretty excited to see how the whole season goes off the back of that one. Now, we've talked a bit about some of the drivers who are in the competition that you mentioned as rivals on track. Obviously, Ovivo, you mentioned Arkin. We know that Iceman is currently fighting the last remnants of the Dark Lord Sauron's army, and we've seen other drivers like Stepper, Doom, Penguin. They've all shown pace. For both of you, I guess, who would you see really as your main threats this season, or main rivals, and who might be a dark horse that we haven't seen before that could upset the field a bit?
Yeah, I'll definitely gotta say, first and foremost, my main competitor for this season is probably gonna be Arkin again. I know he's like kind of mystery because he is not in all of the events we usually do, but oh whoa, look at the birds back there, nice view here. Yeah, Arkin, he is really into the game. He knows the F1. He's a really talented driver. He gets onto the track, and as soon as he drives like 2 or 3 laps, he's already on the pace. So that's gonna be a really tough call to beat him this season.
And Don, any thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think over all the events I've done that I fought the best battles with Cloud. I always was on nearly the same pace, and luckily for me I could decide most of the battles in my favor.
He's definitely a tough competitor though. I'd say he's a dark horse, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. And like Cloud with Super Stepper in the Benefactor Motorsports team, that's also a team you have to look out for the Constructor Championship.
Yes, definitely.
I think we focus a lot on the drivers, but not the constructors.
For those who have seen the touring cars in Spa, I had a really heated battle with Cloud. I think that was my best moment of the season, and I really hope that I can continue that, not only with Cloud, but with more people in the field, to make it a very interesting season.
And what about some of the new drivers, guys? There's people who are entering this competition for the first time who've maybe not had a lot of competitive experience in Nodo and had a chance to prove themselves. Where do you see the threats from the new people? Who do you think we need to look out for in the future?
Yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting because we have quite some new drivers and quite some experienced ones. Because like Doom Penguin, he's into the season 2. It is his first season in F1. He hasn't done the first season, so he's definitely one to watch for if he can keep his mind in the game. And also, also Story.
Proven to be quick.
Yeah, he has definitely proved to be quick. Like who wins a race in the Coquette is definitely quick. And also Story, darn. I think Story, you invited him to the Formula E. He can do pretty good too, don't you think so?
Yes. I think he has to work on his consistency, but in terms of lap times, he is one of the fastest guys in the group, and probably in the Formula 1 as well.
What about Jeffrey? We've seen Jeffrey do good things in the playlist. He's definitely got the pace there, but do you think he's got the pace in an event like this?
I think he could have the pace, but he needs to have deal with the pressure. I've seen him choke quite often when he comes under pressure, so that's definitely a thing he wants to work on.
I don't think I see him as a contender for the title, but he can definitely fight for a podium.
Yeah, I have to agree.
In a race. I don't think he will be consistent enough throughout the season to get on the podium in the end, but I think he can fight for top 5, definitely top 10.
Excellent. Well, I think we're pretty much out of time for today's segment. I hope everyone's enjoyed our interviews with our analysis with the drivers I've got with me here, Ovivo and Odan. I do hope everyone remember to tune into the first race on the 22nd of January at 7 PM UTC. and see it via YouTube and via Twitch. I'm Endesai for Cloud Sports F1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through.